We're back out here once again, and today we're talking about an entire new way to rig finesse baits that will blow your mind. And just because it is finesse doesn't mean it has to be small or that you have to fish it shallow. Stick around, you don't want to miss this one. Get over here, you. This thing is a big one. Yes, I'm recording. It's a good question, but this may be the biggest one. Ooh, he's huge. This one's pretty big, huh, honey? Ooh. Oh my goodness. I need the net. And here is this video's featured comment. Congratulations! If you would like to have a chance to have your comment featured in an upcoming video, all you've got to do is leave a comment. And now, on with the video. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing, and as we move through the month of June and into the summertime months, we start to think about those traditional types of bass fishing, those baits and presentations that we most associate with bass fishing. Something like this. Punching rig, right? This is my punching and flipping rig. I have a 1 ounce bullet weight, a Strike King Rage Bug on a 5/0 flipping hook. And this is a heavy duty setup. This is a 400 size reel with 50-pound braid on a 7/6 heavy power rod. This is some serious hardware that will mow through that vegetation in order to bring those bass to me. And it catches the bigs. It's one of my favorite ways to fish during the summertime. To me, flipping and punching is just so zen. Standing on the deck of my boat, making a pitch, yo-yoing it a little bit, and then bringing it back. Making another pitch, yo-yoing it a little bit, and then bringing it back. You get into that rhythm, you get into that pattern, and there's something very zen-like to me. And again, when you hook into those really big bass, it's just one of the best ways to catch fish that I can think of. Now, another way that I like to use, and again, some people might call these finesse, and that is a jig, right? Some people might think that dragging a jig is a finesse type of presentation, and it very much can be. This is a football head jig. This is a 1/2 ounce, one of the ones that I make, and I've got a Yum Crawl. That's the trailer that I'm using, and if you're not good with a jig, try them right now. Drag a jig during the summertime and you will be amazed at the size of the fish that you can catch. That's good. That's a good one. He came up and he smashed it from behind. Oh, that's a good one. He slung my, let's get him up here to the front of the boat. No, you ain't going nowhere, buddy. You ain't going nowhere. Get out of that motor. Get out of that damn motor. Gonna get the stupid motor up. Come here. Come here. Oh, he choked it. He absolutely choked it. You were going nowhere, buddy. Look at that. That's another good toad right there. You'll go from having a hard time with the jig and having them be a mystery to you to having them as one of your main confidence presentations. And you're going to have a hard time putting that jig rod down, because once you start catching those really big bass, it's addictive, right? It's right up there with a topwater bite for me. A jig bite is my favorite bite and a topwater bite is a close second. So these catch those enormous fish. And besides, this is what I caught my PB on. Not this exact setup, but I caught my PB, which was 13 pounds, 10 ounces, on a 3/4 ounce flipping jig. And basically, it was the same thing. I flipped it out, I hooked into it, and I thought I had a stump until the line shot off to the left. And I'm telling you what, 3 days later, my wrists were still sore. And one of these days, I'm going to do a video all about that stupendous catch. But it was a jig that got it for me. So I'm sold on a jig. And again, someone might call that finesse fishing. And I don't think that I disagree. But when we think of real finesse fishing, we're thinking of wacky rigs, NACO rigs, Ned rigs, possibly even a shaky head. You guys have seen me use the good old Waco rig. Just a 5-inch stick bait or a trick worm or something of that nature. And right in here, I have a 1/16 ounce tungsten nail weight. This thing gets chewed. This is my #1 producer so far this year. And I love getting the emails from you guys, and I love getting the messages and the DMs on Instagram showing me the monsters that you guys have been catching with these. This is really catching on, and you guys are having a lot of success with it, and I'm just amazed. But I'm going to show you something with this that's going to blow your mind. See, the thing about finesse fishing in the summertime is, well, we think that it might catch dinks, or we think that it's just too shallow to fish. And sometimes that might be true. I'm not going to fish the Waco rig in deep water. I'm not going to fish it in anything over 10 feet of water, if that deep, simply because it takes too long to fall. It does not do as well in deep water as shallow water. So it's normally a shallow water presentation. But I have taken the Waco rig and I have made it to the next level. I have revamped it and redone it for summertime fishing for those great big bass. So what am I talking about? Well, I'm going to show you this right here. And this is going to blow your mind. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Magnum Waco rig. This is a man's jelly worm, right? Summertime means big worms for big bass. And believe it or not, this is actually a Waco rig. It doesn't look like it. It might look like a weightless Texas rig, but I've got a 5/0 EWG. And in here, there is a 1/8 ounce nail weight. So this falls pretty fast. It doesn't fall lightning quick, but I can fish this in much deeper water. And the thing about this, what makes this bait so awesome, is how it looks in the water, especially with this. Now, there are other worms that I like to use, a Zoom Magnum Old Monster, a Magnum Trick Worm. But this right here, this particular color, this was driving those bass wild. Now, when am I fishing this? Well, I'm fishing this in place of a wobblehead. Sounds strange. Why would you fish that in place of a wobblehead? Well, because a wobblehead jig or swing head jig during the summertime is going to be something that I'm going to be using whenever I'm fishing deeper water, whenever I'm fishing for those bigs. I have a wobblehead or swing head jig. I have that with a big worm. That's almost exclusively how I fish those. And in the summertime, that's when I get my really big bites. But the problem with a swing head or wobblehead is they always have that football type head on them. So while the bait is rigged weedless, well, the head is not. And that catches on all the gunk and it makes it really hard to pull through the vegetation. And on the big lake, well, even in water that's 15 feet deep, it's still going to be choked with vegetation. That's where this guy comes in. It's got a good, fast fall. Now, not lightning fast, but compared to the Waco rig or a wacky rig, this is going to fall fairly quickly. I can fish it in deeper water and I can fish it for those deeper bass. So just because it's finesse, just because you're thinking finesse fishing, does not mean it has to be small. It can be big. And just because you're fishing finesse doesn't mean it has to be tiny. I mean, obviously, this is a man's jelly worm. These things are enormous. So in the summertime, it really helps. It really pays to have those big worms, to go after those big fish, because now is the time when you want to put the dink fest to the side, right? Through the rest of the year, you're wading through those dinky bass. Now is the time to target those 4, 5, 6, 7 pounders. Now is when you want to go after your PB. And this guy right here will definitely get it done for you. So there you have it, the Magnum Waco rig. It's a bigger worm and it's a little bit bigger weight, and I'm fishing it on a bait cast setup. It's for big bass during the summertime. So if you want a painless, weed-free way to target those really big bass, now it doesn't have to be deep, you can work it shallow just fine. And I'm telling you, you will be amazed at the monster strikes you will get with that thing and just how easy it is to fish. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.